It had been a week since my husband Ethan and his parents disappeared without saying anything. I had no idea where they went or why they left so suddenly. Each day that passed made things more confusing, and then one day my phone rang. "Why do you need to know where I am?" Ethan's voice sounded sharp and mocking. "Because you left without explaining anything," I said, trying to stay calm. He laughed, a cold laugh that hurt to hear. "You're such a noisy woman. Maybe I'll forgive you if you apologize. Or better yet, start doing all the housework properly. If you do, I might even give you a spare key to our new place. How about that?" His words were cruel, but I wasn't going to let him see me upset. "Why would I do that? You think I'm the problem? Let me remind you who's been holding everything together." There was a pause, then muffled voices in the background. "Wait," Ethan said. "Mom wants to talk." Before I could say anything, his mother's voice came on the line, full of disdain. "Oh, you're still alive? I heard you're jobless now. How embarrassing for you." I clenched my fists, angry. Ethan must have lied to her to save face. "Let's clear this up right now," I said firmly. "It's not me who lost their job. If anyone's been disgraceful, it's Ethan." There was silence for a moment. Then she shouted, "Stop lying. You're trying to bring shame to our family." "Check for yourself," I said, and ended the call before she could argue further. A few minutes later, Ethan called again, but I ignored it. I needed time to think and plan my next steps. I knew they wouldn't just disappear forever. They'd be back, and I had to be ready. Not long ago, my life had been so much simpler. I managed a few apartment buildings my father had left me. The rental income was more than enough to live on. Then I met Ethan through my sister Lisa. "You're 33. Don't you think it's time to settle down?" Lisa teased one evening. "Easier said than done," I replied. "I don't even have a partner." "I'll handle that," she said with a mischievous smile. A week later, she introduced me to Ethan, a friend from her college days. Ethan was charming and confident. Even though he was younger, he seemed mature. We started dating, and 6 months later, he proposed. From the beginning, though, Ethan's family was difficult. His mother had a lot of pride and insisted I downplay my success because she didn't want me to embarrass Ethan. Reluctantly, I agreed to keep my financial independence a secret. After we got married, it became harder to keep up the act. Ethan's mother visited constantly, criticizing everything I did, from my cooking to my clothes. She made endless demands, and I put up with it for Ethan's sake. But cracks in our marriage started to show. One afternoon, I came home earlier than usual and found Ethan lounging on the couch, surrounded by empty beer cans. "What's going on?" I asked. He shrugged. "I wasn't feeling well, so I took the day off." "By drinking all this?" I pointed at the 6 empty cans on the table. He avoided my gaze, mumbling something about stress. That night, I told Lisa and my brother Mark about what I'd seen. "Something feels wrong," I admitted. "Ethan's behavior is changing." "Maybe you need to confront him," Mark suggested, but when I tried, Ethan became defensive and our arguments got worse. Then one day, his parents moved in without telling me. "We're family," his mother said cheerfully as she unpacked boxes in our home. "We should live together." I was furious. "Ethan, we didn't even talk about this." "It's just temporary," he assured me, but days turned into weeks. The house became unbearable. His mother criticized everything, and his father barely spoke. Things got worse when I discovered Ethan had lost his job months earlier. He'd been hiding it, pretending to go to work while living off my income. When I confronted him, he shrugged. "Why does it matter? You're doing fine." "It matters because you lied. I've been supporting everyone while you've done nothing." Instead of apologizing, he called his mother, and soon she was at our door, yelling at me for disrespecting him. "You should be grateful to have Ethan," she said angrily. That night, I packed a bag and left. I stayed with Lisa and Mark, determined to take control of my life. "I'm filing for divorce," I told them. They supported my decision, but I knew it wouldn't be simple. Ethan and his parents didn't handle the news well. They accused me of betraying them and tried to guilt me into staying. When that didn't work, they resorted to threats. "If you don't drop this, we'll ruin your family's reputation," his mother warned. "Do whatever you want," I replied, unfazed. I had already spoken to a lawyer and was ready for their tricks. A month after they disappeared, Ethan called again. "Can we talk?" he pleaded. "There's nothing left to say," I replied. "You made your choice when you left." "It was a mistake," he admitted. "We need you." "You needed me when you lied, let your mother take control, and moved out without a word. It's too late now." He tried to argue, but I hung up. A few days later, he showed up at my door with his parents. "We're sorry," they said, almost in unison. "Can we start over?" I shook my head. "Number, I can't forgive this. Please leave." That was the last I saw of them. I finalized the divorce and moved to a new home they couldn't find. For the first time in years, I felt free. I adopted a little chihuahua named Max and started rebuilding my life. Ethan and his family faced their own troubles. Without jobs and with mounting debts, they had to face the reality they'd tried to ignore. As for me, I found peace in my simple new life. My little family of 2 was all I needed. Months passed and I settled into my new life. Every day felt like a fresh start. I decorated my new home with care, adding personal touches that made it uniquely mine. Max quickly became my constant companion. His playful antics and unconditional love filled my days with joy. One day, while walking Max in the park, I ran into Lisa. She was thrilled to see how much happier I looked. "You seem like a different person," she said. "I'm so proud of you for taking control of your life." "Thanks, Lisa," I replied. "I couldn't have done it without you and Mark." Our conversation turned to Ethan. "Have you heard anything about him?" Lisa asked. "Not really," I said. "I heard through mutual friends that he's still struggling. Apparently his mother's controlling nature has caused even more problems for them." Lisa shook her head. "It's sad, but they brought it on themselves." As I watched Max chase a butterfly, I felt a sense of closure. My past with Ethan no longer haunted me. Instead, it served as a reminder of my strength and resilience. On my first anniversary of living independently, I decided to celebrate by hosting a small gathering at my home. Lisa, Mark, and a few close friends joined me. We laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed the warmth of good company. "To new beginnings," Mark said, raising his glass. "And to Max," Lisa added, smiling at my furry companion. As the night ended, I stood on my porch, reflecting on how far I'd come. Life had thrown challenges my way, but I had overcome them. I was stronger, wiser, and finally free to live life on my terms. Looking at the stars, I whispered to myself, "This is just